On today's adventure, join us as we explore the abandoned Millisle Prison, also known as the Millisle Prison, one of Northern Ireland's most infamous forgotten institutes. Hidden away on the coast, this former juvenile detention centre once housed young offenders behind locked bars, barred windows and prison-like cells. Closed for more than 20 years, the building has been left to decay, with many of its original features still remaining inside. From empty cell blocks to abandoned classrooms, we're going to uncover what remains and explore the history behind this eerie and controversial site. Let's go and let's get inside. What is going on, everyone? We are back out again today, and today we're actually out exploring the abandoned Millisle Prison, which just lays abandoned, sitting on the coast of Ireland. But as you can see in front of us, you can see some of the towers over there from where it is. So we're going to make our way over, and we're actually going to check this prison out. Now, this prison was used to house inmates that were actually young offenders, so children aged between, I think it was 13 and 17, something like that there. Don't quote me on it too much, but if I'm correct by saying it was no older than 17 would go here. If you were older than that, you would get sent somewhere else. So this was a young offenders prison. You can see the high walls over there and a lot of the climbing frames. I've made my way down the road a good bit, and as you can start to see, there must have been buildings here at one stage where everything's starting to overgrow. I'm actually surprised the main road itself hasn't overgrown. Look, you can see some buildings there, quite smashed up, quite damaged. Obviously this place has probably been attacked a lot by kids and just young youths who want to get into all the abandoned stuff, because it's quite a popular spot in Northern Ireland and Ireland itself. It's a really popular spot. As you can see now, we're making our way up. So this would have been the main gate of how people would have came in and left the prison. So this was the main entrance, so it was. So you would have a bus that would drive in here, it would get searched, and then people would make their way through. But look at the size of these doors. They're huge. Jamie's currently looking to see if there's a way in. What have they? Yeah. Do none of these open? No. Look at the ladders. So they would have had personnel up on top of there looking over at all times while they were searching the van, searching underneath it, making sure people couldn't escape. This is where it all would have been taking place. So this was actually the first steps. Ignore the curtains. This would have been the first step of entering and leaving the prison. What I noticed, and I think Jamie's noticed because he's walking on over here, there's a path going through here. So maybe there's a way, maybe one of these fences have fell down in a storm or something like that. But we'll continue and we'll have a look, because that's all you can really do. See, it's hard to tell if there's a hole in the fence, because I'm looking at the path. Yeah, that's why I was saying, just follow the path and you'll maybe find a way. It's hard to see if there's a hole or anything, because oh, is there? Yeah. Oh, there it is. But it's hard to see because all these fencing, it's like mesh that goes across.
Yeah, true.
So you can't actually see the holes in it.
Right, let's get in.
Jamie's up first to get down in the hole. There you go. Looks awkward.
There's a stinging nettle there.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Put your head on it.
You imagine you hit it right in your face. That'll be terrible.
Here, whoever cut this did it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like a wee seat.
I know. And it's hidden by that like mound.
It is.
And bush, you know?
Like no one's ever seen that there. If you were to try and sneak in here. Look, they folded it over as well. But we're in on the grounds. So let's hope there's loads of stuff left behind for us to explore. So we come to the main road. Will we go right?
Yeah.
Will we go right? And have a wee look over here.
Yeah. It's mad how they called this a training school.
Yeah.
Instead of a prison, but like, look at the barbed wire.
So this is where we were originally. We were at the other side of here. But as you heard Jimmy say, this was actually a training school. They used that word instead of prison for young offenders. But it looks like that's all closed off. So we're going to keep on walking around. We're going to try and get into here. I think this was the main part. So it was. So that there's where we're mainly going to try and get into in this video. I've seen photos of this place. Oh, is it? He's in shorts. He's not in the trousers. So I've seen photos of this place. I've never been here myself.
and in doing so,
you're stinking from cramming.
I would say so. Look how. See, have you seen the photos of this place?
Yeah, look.
It looks like like it's been cleaned up a bit from the photos that I've seen. But the same so much about the windows.
I mean,
Not too much.
I know the big white building is a listed building, but
Yeah.
I don't think this one is.
Nah, I don't think this one is. So this was built roughly 1970s-ish. So it wouldn't categorise itself as a listed building, I don't think. But I'm
I mean, it's
surprised.
crazy because in front of you, right, that used to be the outdoor sports pitch.
Yeah.
The football pitch.
And know what I'm still surprised about?
What?
If this closed however many years ago, that's absolutely trashed.
Yeah, it's completely trashed.
How are all the pillars now still up?
Yeah, but look, that's the football pitch over there.
And then that would have been cameras and stuff.
And you can't even get anywhere
Oh,
near.
here. Can we go in that way? Go around. Jeez, it looks quite clean.
Does it clean?
Like, it doesn't look overgrown.
Well, it does look overgrown, but
Like, around, but here it doesn't. You know what I mean? Let's see if we can actually get in.
yeah,
Let's see if we can get in.
we're in somewhere.
Yeah. Yo, look at this. There must have been a fire or something here at one stage. You can hear all eerie noises. Must have been stripped as well. You can hear the whole building creaking around us. Let's see. So this must have been like the workshops at one stage. Because obviously they're trying to stop these kids from reoffending. So they're going to teach them stuff. They're going to teach them skills they use in the real world to try and stop them from reoffending again. So it would make sense to have workshops in here for them. Basically to try and get a skill or a trade behind them while they're here. They look so old. Can you even move any of it?
They're rusted, but they're still here.
Oh, fuck.
Proper rusted.
Yeah. So that's us into the main prison now, I think. It's weird. Like, we've did prisons before in the past.
Look how slim the windows
Oh
are.
no, you're never getting through that, are you?
They're solid. Look at this. This is quite interesting. So this is actually the metal detector.
Oh, is it?
That when you came back from the workshop, you had to
Ah.
walk through
To make sure you're not stealing
you've
anything.
not tried to smuggle any tools from the workshop.
No shanks. Sounds like birds.
Nature.
Yeah, nature's probably took over fully.
You can hear all
But you can see all the fire damage above us. Is that a sports hall in there straight ahead? Check that out.
I mean, this at night time would be
Oh, it'd be scary, so it would. Be very scary. In here, it's like changing facilities or toilets. And then we go into here. This actually takes us into the sports facility. You can see the old basketball hoop would have been there at one stage. Old pool table there in the middle of the floor. But you can see that people have just come in and graffitied. And you can start to see the vines and stuff starting to grow inside. And that just shows you that nature always takes over. When we leave, we damage nature and it always takes itself back. Always reclaims. But this is insane. It's massive, this sports hall. So it is like the fact that kids and stuff used to come here, like just to relax and play games while they were fulfilling their sentence. It's crazy. It's a crazy thought. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, the fact that people were once here who had done petty crime, who had done even more severe things like high risk children. Because you have to remember, this place was shut around the this place was built and used around the Troubles, I should say. So if anybody doesn't know, Ireland went basically for a war of where they wanted independence, essentially, in terms of they didn't want to be controlled by the United Kingdom and Britain. They wanted to be their own country, all one, because currently Northern Ireland and Ireland are divided. So currently, and back then, they wanted everything to be all one. They didn't want it to be two different countries. But look at all these broken windows. So this must have been where a fire was, as we can see through the window. And all the glass and all is melted and it's like started to fall out. But you can see the decay all around us. Also, because all these windows are broken, so it's allowed the elements to get in And the further we go, we'll probably see more and more of the paint stripping. These probably take us to some of the cells because we're getting further and further in now. And here probably would have been doors going off the hinges and the door frames. Maybe classrooms would have been in here at one stage. It's kind of hard to tell. There's no signage on the doors. So it's kind of hard to tell what once was. But I'm going to say it was offices or classrooms, going off the fact that they had wee boards on the wall. So like I said, they would have still did their studies and stuff in here. They allow the kids and the young adults to basically have a career whenever they left here so they don't reoffend. We'll continue. I think this takes us to the cells, given off the fact that it's pushed further into the building. I'm hoping that's the case. But look, we can start to see the decay more. All the lead paint is starting to peel off the ceilings all around us. And to the left, we have our bathrooms. There's windows looking in, that probably so the guards can have a peek in to see what's going on, make sure there's no fights. And then we get to here. This is actually one of the old control rooms. I'm assuming down there's the cells. Yeah, they would have watched the cameras and they would have been able to control the doors from here probably. I think the cells are down there. But look at this. You can tell it's just been run through and stripped out completely, but I wonder what this would have been like back in the day. What's down here? Just more corridors. But let's go check out these cells. Well, I can only assume it's cells. Ow. But look at this. As we make our way through, you can actually see where the cells would have been once upon a time. Now, the beds and all, I don't think are still here. They probably would have been laid there, but you can see the water damage starting to come through. Now, this place has been closed for a long time, and look how it is. Like, people think when places get left behind, like, they sit as they once were. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And this is what they turn into. A whole big mess. Obviously, you have a lot of people coming in here, and with people coming in, they're stripping the place and they're stealing stuff. And unfortunately, that's how some people make their money. Like these cells, they're not very big, but they're also not very small either. Like, you can be comfortable in here, and I'm assuming it was one person per cell. At one stage, it would never have probably been multiple kids. Because you know how kids are, they fight a lot.
While the Millisle Prison intended to rehabilitate young people, its history was far from positive. Over the years, former residents made allegations of physical abuse, excessive punishment, neglect, and mistreatment by the staff. The prison-like environment itself was heavily criticised, with many arguing that the children were being housed in conditions more suited to a jail than a care facility. As concerns continued to grow throughout the 1980s and into the 1990s, the institute became increasingly controversial, eventually contributing to its closure in 2003. Today, the empty cells and abandoned corridors stand as a reminder of a difficult chapter in Northern Ireland's history.
In here takes us in what looks like a bathroom. That's quite a big restroom area. 2 toilets there, and a urinal for 2 stands there. And then over here, we get more to the showers, which I'll be surprised aren't taken. Yeah, they have been. Everything's just been stolen out of this place. You know, if someone can get money out of something, they'll always do it, unfortunately. But we'll just continue to look around. As you can see here, they would have had metal fencing up, and unfortunately it's all been taken as well. It's like nothing's really been left behind inside this place. Like, everything's been taken. Like, spray paint and all. Is there even going to be any fences left? It'd be interesting to see one. Oh, look her. You can see here where once would have been the metal gates. These probably would have been shut at night time or during lockdown hours. They probably would have shut all this here to stop the prisoners from basically wandering around at night time, because you'd remember this was a high security prison for young offenders. Again, we go in here. This brings us in the same layout as across the way. The exact same. The building is basically shaped as like a square in some parts, and that is where we are now. We're roughly in that square. Whenever I was taking drone footage, I think I actually seen a wee middle bit, which we'll see if we can find, because it is quite complicated with the layout of this building. Go over here, we'll see what else there is. You can see there's cutting discs and all, just sitting around the place, obviously from whenever people were cutting stuff up. But look at this, the decay in here is crazy, so it is. And look, you can actually see some of the old police tape. It's still here. Just more of the classrooms, I think. These were. Don't think these were bedrooms. But you can actually hear the water falling out of the ceiling. You can see it on that light there. The water's just slowly dribbling and dribbling. Just making its way through. And there's wee peepholes just here to allow the guards basically just to peep through and have a look. You would love to read the doors and see if there was anything that actually give you a bit of an indication of what each room was, but you can only really guess. Like in my head, going off the shape of this room and what it looks like, was it a cooking room? Was it, I don't know, just going off that sink? Was it maybe a wee kitchen or something? Was the kitchen the part that burnt down? We don't really know. It's hard to tell what something was without actually seeing anything, and that's mainly because someone has obviously came and someone has taken everything out of it. But if we look here, you can actually see all the water that has started to build up on one of the roofs. It's like a wee pond. Here's that courtyard area that I was talking about. We'll see if we can get out. There's a set of stairs over there. See here. Just been completely tipped over, but it's the nature as well that is taken over, which I find is very fascinating about this place. Like, look at the overgrowth that's come through, and that would just be down to all the moisture. Like, you can see all the moss on that floor that has come in here, and that will just slowly bubble up and get worse and worse, probably until these ceilings start to fall through, even though they're concrete. It will happen. And that's what I love about nature. It works in weird ways. Look at this. We're out in the wee centre part. Now I don't know if people were probably allowed out here back in the day. Don't know if it was like a no-go zone. Maybe guards only were allowed out here, allowed them to get in and out of places quickly. But maybe they were allowed out because obviously they have a lot of barbed wire there. But as you can see up here, there is none. So you never really know. Unless it has been taken down or pulled off over time to allow people to get on the roof. But let's make our way back inside, and we'll go back downstairs through the building to see if we've missed anything down on the ground floor, because obviously we came straight upstairs, so we did, and we didn't really check much out. But you can see some of the windows have just been completely taken out, but in doing so, it's left us with quite a nice view. While looking around, I actually came across some of this old classwork. Look at this. You can actually see their names on it still, from back in the day. Look at that. Mark Hamill. Some more stuff. I've actually made my way down the stairs there, just in front of us, and we're going to make our way through here, and we're going to see what else we can find, because this place is quite interesting, even though it's quite stripped as it is. I feel like there's a lot to it, and something that we're missing. So we come to this corridor. I think over there is where we started, so we make our way down this way. So this is courtroom 1, courtroom 2. Let's check out these courtrooms. So it's basically just, there might have been a phone or something here at one stage. and they would have just sat in here on a phone with maybe a camera, or maybe just a phone, and basically dealt with stuff that way. And then the same, just in this room. Check out this room. These rooms are exactly the same. That door's going to be locked, so we're going to have to go back on ourselves. This is probably, in terms of condition, the worst condition building that we've actually explored in a long time. And we're always used to exploring virtually brand new stuff. There's Jamie over there. Like, we never really explore stuff in this type of condition. And it kind of brings you back to where you first started. So in here, must have been a fire here at one stage, as we can see. Look at that. It's in bad condition in here. Oh my god. Oh, this was the canteen. But look at this. The way the paint just peels after it's been burnt down. Now this would have been a big slide-in door, as you can see by the handle and stuff. So this would have been a big divider that would have slid across to make the room bigger or smaller, basically cutting it in half. And it's been completely set on fire. So it has. Like a big curtain it would have been. But we go in here. This should take us to what once was the kitchen. As you can see, everything's been either taken and sold or stolen and sold. See, there's no like cookers, no nothing. It's just all the worktops that is basically pointless to a scrapper that has just been left behind. This just takes us in the kitchen areas where the fridges and all would have been at one stage. Then back here just takes you outside. But we're going to go back in actually. But we're going to go in this door here. And that means we're skipping the whole walk back. This takes us back to where we originally were. We're going to meet up with Jamie. And then we're going to go from there. But look at this corridor. Look at the paintings on the walls inside this cell block. Maybe it was just the kids that did it. Was it maybe someone afterwards that did all these paintings? Like there's X-Men. You know what I mean? You'd never know. Was it the kids? Was it someone else that could have done all these? Someone spray painted a body on one of the beds. Look at that. The vines are starting to grow up through the floor. And that there one. And then this here one actually has a Batman on the wall, which is really impressive to be fair. Really impressive. But I don't know how old that is compared to this place. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these places could have been, paintings could have been done beforehand. But part of me is starting to think, because all these rooms have these style of paintings, this was maybe for the younger kids, the 10-year-old roughly range, because every single room has one. You know what I mean? Like every room has a wee painting. That's maybe to try and keep them feeling like they're at home or something. This one actually doesn't have one, surprisingly, unlike all the rest of them. Nor does this one. No, I was able to peek through the gap. But yeah, let's go meet up with Jamie. Let's see what we're going to do. Because we believe, now don't quote me on it, there's another facility on this site, just across the way, that was obviously linked to all this here. And it was used before this place actually went abandoned. Sorry, used before this place was built. While waiting for Jamie, I've decided to come outside and actually come over to where the football pitch once used to be. And we're going to check it out. Now, as you can see, it's fairly overgrown. But honestly, being with the weather being warm, I thought it would have been 10 times worse than what it actually is. So I'm just following the trail that obviously someone else has left behind at one stage, just because it makes it easier to walk through. But as we get over here, you can actually see like the climbing frames and all, and the activity bit that they would have had at one stage, and it kind of makes you afraid of ever having to do something like that whenever, like, I wouldn't want to do that now, never mind do it when I was younger. But look at this, the old football pitch that was once here. sits right in front of us. You can see the football posts here, and then on over just there. That's where the other ones were. Some size of football pitch, like. Met up with Jamie, and we've made our way out of the prison, jumped this fence, and we're now checking this here part. Now this is Wuburn House. This was built in the early 1800s, I think it was. Don't quote me on it. But this here was actually used originally as the prison before the main prison behind us was. So this was more used towards, it was like a prison where you could basically walk around and you had so much freedom, you just weren't allowed to leave. You could do what you want when you want. But as you can see, there's armadillos here. We don't know if they still work. But this place was actually used during World War II. As we can see, armadillos still work. Don't know if he's going to shoot at us. He's old. Yeah, it's probably the oldest one I've seen. But behind us here, a church is actually taken over the sports centre, which I believe was part of this. And then housing and stuff has been starting to get built all around. So let's get around. Let's see if we can get in. Our plan is to get inside, have a look, and even get on the roof. That's part of the church there, and I think it still gets used. I don't think it's abandoned. But what was that? Oh, the door?
Yeah.
I thought it was the floor. Is this the mechanic's room?
We can climb up and have a look, will we?
Yeah, well, we can climb over.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
We've walked around the building. We've decided we're going to jump this wall. We're going to see if we can get in. Now, our main objective now with this is not only just to get in, but to get onto the roof and have a look. Get a wee overview of the seaside town. I was trying to find one of these windows that opens. Now, we think these open, but you can see at the very top, it's hard to see on the camera, there's a wee blocker that only allows them to open so much. Unfortunately, these ones have bars behind them, as you can see. Going back to the claims that this was part of the prison.
What's the best way of getting in? Is it a swing?
It's not a very nice one to climb, is it? Oh. Up it goes. Nice. Looks like it's all ladders from here, which is good.
It's like sandpaper.
Yeah, it's like sandpaper that, isn't it?
Oh, it's not nice.
Drinky Winky got attacked. Yeah, this is the safest roof about. Oh. Oh, this is not nice. You could technically squeeze.
I don't know how you're fitting down there, look.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot more.
Well, it's a lot higher than what you think.
Like, I would usually hang drop in from them, but
It's getting, yeah. And then your issue's getting out if the building's stripped.
oh, yeah.
We have shimmied our whole way across the roof. Now look at the view that we've been given for this Explorer. Now, the roof is dodgy as pish, and I'm just waiting for it to go in. But we've found a way in.
Make a way in, though.
We make our way in indeed.
How safe is the cupboard on the other side is the question.
Yeah, we're climbing down onto the cupboard. Oh, so unsafe. If Jamie disappears, we know why.
It's not great, like.
No.
No.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're in. We're in the impossible building. So, like we were saying, this Borstal is old. It used to be an Italian house back in the 1800s. Now this is old.
Oh, that floor's gone there.
Oh.
What's that? Oh! Shit, the whole floor's gone, mate.
Oh yeah, look at that. Do you reckon this was maybe connected to the main prison at one stage?
Yeah, this would be
It's pretty cool. I've never seen these before.
national controller.
You seen one in Germany, didn't you?
Yeah.
Never seen
There's
this.
a definite prison controller. That's cool, that's who that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then that would have been all monitors there.
Yeah.
All in them would have been the screens. We're now going to make our way down the stairs now. That floor is really unstable. So I'm really scared about these floors and stairs themselves. Look at that. Look at the ceiling we were just walking on. How bad that is.
I really think this was an old Italian mansion at one
I know it doesn't have the architecture style. So up there's where we were. Look at that. So we're going to make our way through here. Now, during World War II, I believe it was, this was actually used to help injured soldiers. The same way a house on the north coast was also used, called Canteen House. It seems like they used all the old mansions during the World Wars to actually help the old soldiers. And as you can see here, this is one of the old classrooms that was once used whenever the kids and all were in here. Now, this part was holding people up until I think they were 21. So, a brave bit younger. And a brave bit older as well. I think it was 10 to 21 or maybe 16 to 21. Maybe just young adults was in this here wing. But like I said, this here part, you could just do whatever you wanted. They were able to just to walk around and kind of have free will. And were able to actually just pick and choose when they wanted to come in and out of their cells. As where most prisons nowadays, you're not allowed to do that. This is the old library. Kind of just scared with these old floors that we're going to go through it, so I'm not going to go fully in. But this is one of the old libraries. So we're going to head downstairs. This place is in no way in any good shape, but at the same time it kind of just shows you a bit of the history of this place, about where the prison started to where it's ended up going. They've obviously moved the prisons over into the more modern wings and the more modern facilities compared to places like this here. Like places like this here just get left, and that's why we come here. We come to document them, because otherwise you wouldn't see some of this here. Now this starts to show you some of that Italian architecture along the ceiling. See the way everything's chiseled in nicely. You get the old chandeliers just up the top as well. Well, let's continue. Now I don't know if there's a basement. If I fall through the floor then I'll find out, but the floor is very squishy still. But we make our way in here. Look at that. The grand ceiling, this would have been amazing back when it was in its peak. But unfortunately, it's just been left. Basically to fall apart. This would have been an amazing house. Now, don't get me wrong, extensions and all have probably been added to it over the years, especially whenever the prison service had hold of the building and was using the facility. Just trying to watch where I'm walking. They probably added extensions and stuff on, because out the back is an old police training centre, which we're not going to look at. There's, in practical term, no point in looking at it because how done in it is. But as you can see, look out the window, there's the armadillo looking straight at us. But this here's one of the grand rooms. You can see all the paint and all the plaster and stuff is starting to bubble up on the walls from the moisture that's built up. The tiles are falling from the ceilings and everything. Even look at the wall, like the old wood, exactly the same. Maybe bedrooms. This place just goes on and on. Ladies, toilets. Wuburn House water supply service within this. This is actually one of the old offices. As you can see, look at the way they had the windows set up. They had bulletproof glass in front of the windows to stop anybody getting through. You can see all the old pigeonholes where they would put all the letters and documents and stuff they needed attended to. Just a random bin. But this here side was just all offices again. We can see some of the architecture starting to peek through. Look at this. So we're in the tower, we can actually look over into the beach and see everybody just having a jolly good time. Well, we're standing in this abandoned borstal. So let's make our way down the stairs, back outside. Time for our long walk back to the car now. As you can see, we've left the prison facility. It's all behind us now, so it is. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was something different. It was different. The style we went for, a whole different aspect. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it on something that's pristine like we usually do. Something that's completely untouched. But you know what? It's always nice to go back to your grassroots and try things and experience some of the abandoned places that aren't in the best of condition like we've done before in the past. Like we've hit some of the best and we've hit some of the worst. But that, I wouldn't even call it a worst spot ever. it's quite a decent spot for what it is. But that being said, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop us a comment. Let us know what your favourite part was, and we'll see you all in the next one.